Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well today. I have a video full of lights, lots of lights. I found some fairy lights in my stash of Christmas stuff that I had not used, and I started on a project and then it led to another project, then it led to another project. So there's lots of lights in this video and I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, please give me a thumbs up and let me know that you like this video, and I will see you again soon.
All right, project number 1. I am using the IOD Partridge Lane, and I'm flipping through it right now. This came out this year for the 2025 holiday release. And I'm going to use some of these houses. I remember when I first saw this, I immediately thought of a little village, like the little villages that we would make with all the little ceramic houses and things. So what I've done is I've cut out some houses, and I am going to be putting these on just some foam core that I bought from the Dollar Tree. And I'm cutting off part of this to kind of make it reasonably straight on the bottom. So I've got a total of 5 houses that I've picked out. And I'm just going to be transferring these onto this foam board so that I can cut them out. I'm going to take off the extra there. I won't be like cutting out the really small details on the side, but I'm going to go ahead and get these as close to cut out, as I can without actually fussy cutting them out. And I'm going to put all of them down, and then I'm going to use my transfer stick. You peel off the back, and then you put them down, and then you just use your transfer stick, and they come right off on this foam core. Not hard at all. Super easy to transfer them on there, and I do all 5 of them. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I am just taking my little craft knife, and I'm going to go around the whole thing, and I'm kind of like not doing long strokes. I'm kind of like perforating it really. And this is actually way easier than it looks. I just kind of punch around it, and they just kind of pop out. It really wasn't hard at all. I think altogether it maybe took 15 or 20 minutes to cut all 5 of these out. And I even went around like the tree right there. After I got done, I did sand off the edges if they were rough. And now what I'm doing is I am taking my snow paste that comes in a tube and my snow crystal paste. I put the snow paste on first, and then I kind of dab it with a brush just to give it some texture. And then after that dries, I take snow crystal paste and I go over it. The snow paste, it doesn't really have any glitter in it. It doesn't glisten, but the snow crystal paste is very translucent. You can see it there. And that's what gives it that snowy, glistening look. And you do that after the snow paste has dried. And I am just basically outlining on all these houses, all of the roof line. And if you look at the little houses, they all have like snow pictured in them. And I'm just basically putting this snow on and making it 3-dimensional. And I'm going to go and do that to all 5 of these little houses. And the snow paste and the snow crystal paste is from Pentart, by the way. And now I'm going over this wood piece. I bought this on Amazon. And I am going over it with chalk paint from Paint Couture. And the color is basil. And I cover it 2 times. And I'm going to let that dry. And now I have some of these kind of squared wooden beads that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to go ahead and just take some white chalk paint and go over those and let those dry and let them be white. I'm going to use that same white, and this is from Paint Couture, and this is, I don't remember, ivory. And I'm going to go put that in with crust, and crust is basically a texture additive, and it's kind of a grayish color, and I mixed in the white so that I could get a little bit more white. I'm going over the back of all of those little houses just to give it some texture and a look, kind of like stucco. And now what I'm doing is I am taking just some moss from Pentart, and this is basically a texture paste, and there's a light green and then a darker green, and I'm gonna kind of blend them together, and I'm stippling this on because I want a lot of texture. I want it to look like grass, and I'm blending them until I get kind of what I want to look like. Most of it's going to be covered up. I am taking my heat gun and going over that. What that does is it makes this stuff puff up. It's really cool. It really does look like moss, but it does look like grass in the context we're going to use it. So now I'm taking my little houses and deciding where I want to put them on this little board. And I'm taking those little square beads, and I'm putting some glue on them, gluing them to the back of the house, and then the bottom of the house. I'm putting glue all the way across the back and then pushing it down. And what that's going to do is that is going to hold all of these up. And I do that to all 5 of the houses. So now what I'm doing is I am just taking my glue gun and basically putting mounds of glue next to each one of these little beads, because I want it to kind of look like little hills in back of it. I don't want it to look like just little square beads. I mean, you really are only going to see this from the front, but you can kind of see it sideways. And then what I'm doing is I bought a bunch of these little trees off of Amazon, and they're all different colors. And of course they have the little wooden bottoms to them. And I'm going to glue these down where I want them. And then I have some Tim Holtz little reindeer. I'm not even sure you can get these anymore. They're from Ideology. I'm sure I bought them probably from Joann's when they were on sale. And I am going over them with just some bronze fusion paint. I want them to be a darker color, but kind of a glisten a little bit. So now what I'm doing is I am taking some of that snow paste mixture that I made with the crust from Paint Couture and the white paint. And that white paint was Italian ivory. And I just went over, I'm going over the little round pieces of the trees. And then I'm going to go over all of those little beads that I blobbed on there with a bunch of glue to make it look like hills. And I'm just kind of taking a brush, and sometimes I'm using my little spatula, and I'm filling all of that in. Just going over all of it and trying to make it look more like it's little hills and snowy all over. And like I said, a lot of that green's going to get covered up, but what's not does have some texture, and it works pretty well making it look like it's snow. So now what I'm doing is I am taking some snow crystal paste by Paint Couture, and unfortunately we are out of it, and Paint Couture cannot get it. But in any case, I am putting that all over this, and it is sticking to all of the wet crust that I put on there. And now I'm adding some snow crystal paste from Pentart, and that is going to make all of the snow that I put on top of these little houses glisten a little bit. It's going to give it a little sparkly look. And of course, I'm going to be adding a little bit more of the snow crystal later. So now what I'm doing is I have these little fairy lights. I bought them on Amazon. They're incredibly cheap. I think it's less than $1 per set. And I glued the battery to the very back house there. And it has an on-off switch. And then I twisted them around the 3 back trees. And now I'm going to take another one. And I recommend making sure that they work before you go through the trouble of putting them on. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that to one of the back houses in the second row. And then I'm taking them and I'm wrapping them around each of the trees in the second row. And I go ahead and decide I'm going to go ahead and wrap some of the trees that are in that middle big tree there. And I'm going to do that little pink tree. And you really have to kind of smush these in there so that the wire doesn't show. And as I'm doing these, I'm definitely trying to end up to where the wire is on the bottom so that later I can go in there and like I'm doing right now, and I'm going to cover them up with snow. So you can't really see the wires. And if I have to use glue, I put some glue down. And then I just kind of glob the snow paste over it. And then when I'm all done, I, of course, take that sheer frost crystal paste and go over it. And this is it, guys. I think it turned out really great. And it's kind of what I envisioned, a wonderful little village. So anyway, just a fun thing to do with these transfers and the fairy lights. All right, so project number 2 has a lot of similarities of project number 1, but I thought I would do this. It's a little bit easier and a little different. This is a Tim Holtz little box shelf thing. The little middle parts come out. So it's going to just be one big long project box. I'm showing you that tin that I got from the Dollar Tree because if you didn't have this little box, you could definitely just use a little tin like that. In fact, it might even look better, but in any case, we're going to be using this box. I'm not even sure if you can buy these anymore, but definitely take a look and see if you can. So anyway, I am cutting out some houses, and these are a little bit smaller than the ones we used last time. The last time we used the bigger houses. These are kind of the medium size. there's quite a few houses. There's some that are like stuck together in a row, and then there's a whole page of separate ones. So you get a lot of little houses. And I'm going to do the same thing where I basically put these on the foam core board. And this time I'm doing a little different. I cut out little squares around each one of these houses. You know, you live and learn. It's easier to do it this way. And I'm still going to go through and kind of perforate it and then cut it. And I go through and do all of them. I'm not going to bore you with that. But basically, it's really not that hard. It looks kind of hard, but it's not. And when I'm done, I just take my little sander and kind of sand off any of the roughed edges. And now I've got it kind of spaced out the way I want it. And later on, I don't do it that way because I forgot how I did it. So, but anyway. So I'm just going to put one bead on these. These houses are smaller, and one bead is going to work just fine because it's going to be glued to the back of the box. And the reason you don't want to just put them in there flat against the box is we're wanting to make it have dimension, and we're also going to be putting lights behind these houses. So now I have a piece of decoupage paper. You definitely do not have to have decoupage paper. You could for sure just paint the inside, but I have this decoupage paper, so I'm going to use it. And I'm going to go ahead and just use Pentart's decoupage gel and go through and add quite a bit because this is kind of raw wood. It really soaks it up. I'd already kind of cut it out to fit. It's not perfect, but that's okay because a good portion of what we're doing you're not even going to see. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there, and then I'm going to piece together enough to go on the sides and on the top. And honestly, on the top, you don't even really see it in the end. But I guess if you were looking at this really close, you would notice it. But you could skip putting it on the very top like I'm doing right there. And of course, I just put the decoupage glue on it. And I go ahead and let that dry completely, and I sand off the extra. And then I find one little spot that I didn't get, and then later on I just go ahead and kind of piece that in. You're never going to notice that it's pieced together when we're done. So now I'm taking decoupage glue and going over the top of the whole thing wherever I have decoupage paper. And I'm going to go ahead and be putting sheer frost on top of that. Now granted guys, I think I have one left, and like I said, I can't replace that, but you could use a clear glitter to do the same thing. I will have to say the German glass glitter is not regular glitter. It's made out of glass, and it is very, very sparkly. So, but you know, if you can get some somewhere, get it. Apparently they're having trouble getting this from overseas. So we can't replenish it, but I did replenish all of my German glass glitter. So if you didn't get any the last time, because y'all just bought a lot of glitter, I just restocked it, so, and added new colors. And we're getting more in. So now I'm taking that snow paste and going all around the houses, just like we did in the other project that we had. And I'm going to just basically use the brush because I ran out of snow in my snow pen, and I too lazy to go down and get another one. I'm going to let that dry completely. And now I'm looking through. Tim Holtz has all of these papers. I have no idea. I don't even think he makes these anymore. You may still be able to get them. I don't know. I really don't. So I cut out a piece that kind of looks like wood. And okay, I do this. And guys, let me tell you something. This turned out to be just the dumbest thing. So I put that piece across the top. And then I take these little icicles from Tim Holtz. I have no idea if you can even get these either. I think these are Ideology stuff too that I bought ages ago. but I glue them on the end because I want it to look like icicles are hanging down. And I thought about it. We could probably make some of these with some clear resin or even glue or whatever. But anyway, I go ahead and put these on the edge there. And this turns out to be the biggest pain because I'm going to have to get in and out of this box to do all kinds of stuff. And I should have actually done that later. But in any case, I went ahead and put those on. And now I'm going to go ahead and put that moss effects on and do basically what I did to the other project, but just on the bottom, because remember we put the blue decoupage paper on all the other sides, and I put the dark color on first. I basically did not paint it first because there's not a lot of area that we're going over, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of stipple that on so we get the texture. And I'm doing the front of this. Later on I put something over the front, but this project, I don't really plan things. When you guys see them, they evolve. I just do them, and as they evolve, you get to see that. So now what I'm doing is I'm going over all the houses after the snow paste is dried, and I'm using snow crystal paste, and that is what gives the snow that glistening look to it. And when you add the lights to it, you can really see it all glistening. That's why you use it. Now the snow paste itself is very opaque, so you want to get either the crystal paste or the snow crystal paste, and they are different. The snow crystal paste has a little bit of pigment to it, and the crystal paste is completely clear. So anyway, now what I've done is I have drilled a hole in the back of this, actually 2 holes, and I am taking my little fairy lights and I'm stringing them through there. That's probably, you could do a bigger hole in the back, but I did what I did. So anyway, I just used my drill and very easy to do, drill a hole in the back, and you can see here why that top part that I put on with the little crystals became a real pain, and eventually I rip it off, but I kind of halfway rip it off for a while, and then I realized this is crazy, it's driving me nuts. So after I get it all the way through, I just make sure I can get to the little on-off switch, and it also changes the lights to flashing, fast or slow, and then just steady on. So I glue that on the back, and now what I'm doing is I am putting a ton of hot glue. This is the top. That's why that crystal thing that I did was crazy, because I'm trying to work around that. But I'm putting a bunch of glue on the top of this, and I'm using that tongue depressor so I don't burn my hands. And I'm pushing these lights right into the glue. It will not hurt the lights at all, and they still twinkle even if they're under a blob of glue. So I go all the way across and I add a bunch of lights, but I still have lights, probably half of them left over, and I'm letting them hang out until I get my other pieces in. And see, look, I'm having to work around that stupid thing. So now I'm just taking some glue, and I'm gluing these houses to the back of this little box. And see, it's going to give us some dimension. Otherwise, if we just put them in there, they would kind of be flat up against the back. And I go ahead and put all 5 houses in. So I've went ahead and glued my little trees down, and now I'm taking the remainder of those lights and I'm going over a couple, maybe 2 or 3 of these little trees. There's 5 total, and I'm trying to wrap them. Now see, that thing has just been a pain the whole time, so I finally just get tired of it and I rip it off. I put it back on later, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap these around the trees. And I'm wrapping them pretty tight because I don't want a lot of the wires. The wires are really thin, but I don't want them showing. And I try and end up at the bottom of the tree so that I can glue the wire down to the bottom and then put snow paste over it. And so now I'm taking my second string of lights and I'm fishing it through. And I strongly advise that you try out your lights before you put them on there, because I've done it before and then they didn't work. So just put a dab of glue on there and glue them down. And now I'm putting some of those lights on the top again. This is the top. I have this turned over. And then I'm also going to take the other two trees that I haven't done yet, and I'm going to wrap those. I'm gluing this back together because I accidentally ripped it. And I'm going to make this not quite as wide because it really hung down too low before. And I'm going to be putting that back on, but I'm going to wait. This time I'm getting a little smarter about this. And I'm going to wait till I'm done with putting my lights in, because it's already fiddly enough, and then having to try and work around that was not real brilliant. But you know, as I said, the project evolved. I don't always know what I'm going to do when I'm doing it. So you guys, I don't do like a practice piece first. So, you know, I'm just kind of making it up as I go along, guys. So anyway, I go all the way around my second tree. And then I'm going to go in between those houses, and I am going to shove the rest of those lights down on the back behind those houses. And I'm using a stick to kind of shove it in there. And I actually go in and I put some glue in there and try and shove it in there and get it all kind of stuck down so where it doesn't come up. I'm even using some tweezers to get them in there. And now I am gluing this piece with the icicles back up on the top. Yeah, should have done that last. But, you know, like I said, I was kind of just making it up as I'm going along. The whole idea of that piece is to cover all of the lights on top and to have somewhere to hang those icicles. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking my snow paste. I'm not using the crust this time. I'm just using the snow paste because I have a lot less ground to cover. The crust was really good when you have a big surface that you're covering, but the snow paste is really good when you don't have a lot. And this comes in a jar. It also comes in that applicator. So I've covered the bottom of the trees, and now I have this Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas from Tim Holtz, and I went ahead and put that in the middle of this. And now I've taken another piece of that Tim Holtz paper. And guys, if you don't have this paper and stuff, you can always just use what you have. I'm using what I have, basically. So I took a piece of that Partridge Lane, and I put it on that piece of paper, and now I'm going to glue it to the bottom. I just wanted to kind of put something on the bottom because I wanted to kind of cover the very bottom part there. See where you see the little round portions of the tree? Even though I covered them with snow, I wanted to kind of disguise them a little bit more. And now I'm taking, these are little pieces from the Tim Holtz, and I'm marking where I need to cut them. And I'm going to be adding these to the top, and I'm going to put one on each side. And that's just to kind of decorate the top a little bit more. So I mark it and I cut it, and then I glue it in place. So now I'm just going to take out my snow paste and kind of do a patch job anywhere I want to cover anything up, like any seams or any gaps or anything like that. And I decide that I want to go ahead and put some more of that Tim Holtz paper around the sides of this, the top and the two sides, just to kind of decorate it up a little bit. I was thinking about painting it, but then I thought, wait, I have all this really pretty paper. and I think it kind of goes with the whole vibe that I've got going on there, the kind of retro vibe. So anyway, then I go ahead and I cover up any of that wires and things like that with the snow paste, and I use my fingers to kind of like almost like grout, going in and filling in all the little gaps. And I'm going to put it anywhere where I think you would have snow, like, right around the top part where you have all those little icicles coming down. I mean, you would probably have snow there. And on the very top, and I put some on the bottom. Anyway, I go crazy. It's a blizzard again, guys. So I go all over and I put the snow all over. And when that dries, then I'm going to take my snow crystal paste and I'm going to go over it with that. And that's what makes it glisten. I make sure I glue down any wires and I go over it with the snow paste. And now I'm taking the snow crystal paste and I'm going over all of it. And then I take the crystal paste and I go over all the little icicles because the crystal paste is completely clear. And while it's still all wet, of course, I'm taking my sheer frost German glass glitter. And oh my gosh, guys, the German glass glitter, even if you can't get the sheer frost together, it's not regular glitter. It's not made out of plastic, it's glass, so it's very sparkly. And yes, I wish I could get more of this. So anyway, that's it, guys. I think it turned out really cute. So this is village number 2. I could not help myself. I couldn't. But the next one's not a village, so stay tuned. All right, project number 3 and 4 is not a village. Okay, so I am taking the snow globes mold and I am going to be casting some clear globes with some clear resin. And I am selling resin on my website now, guys. So if you need some, you can pick it up there. So anyway, the way it works is you put equal parts A and B, and the clear resin takes at least 8 hours to set up enough for you to be able to use it. So I usually do this like at night. And big tip here, guys, use a pizza box or a box with a top. This has a flip box that goes over it. It's not going to touch the actual mold itself, but it will cover it so it doesn't get dust in it. So you mix both parts in equal parts, and you do need to stir it for about 3 minutes. And because you're stirring it so long, it will get bubbles in it. And I use regular rubbing alcohol that I get from the Dollar Tree. I spray my mold with it before I even pour it in there, and then I will spray it after. So I spritz it first, and then I pour it in, and I over poured this quite a bit, but that's okay because the clear resin is super, super easy to cut. It doesn't completely cure for about 24 hours, so when you first demold it, it's very soft and it's easy to just take your scissors and cut it. And I spray alcohol on this, just spritz it, and it gets rid of all the bubbles, and I never have bubbles. So yeah, no lighter needed or a bubble machine or anything like that. So here I have my 2 pieces of resin that I'm going to use, and I am taking just some decoupage glue from Pentart, and I am placing it on the back of the snow globe mold, one of them, and I'm going over this little piece of paper. I have these, I'm pretty sure I have several of them, and I just glue it down so I can see what I'm doing. I don't, have an idea of where it's going, and I obviously have more than I need there, but I will take care of that later. And now I'm going to go over the back of it, and I'm going to go ahead and just basically use my decoupage glue to glue on down the back. And now I've got the other snow globe mold, and I'm kind of just, I don't know for sure what I'm going to use it for yet. And I think I'm just going to do that Christmas tree. In case you haven't noticed, there's kind of a pinkish theme to this besides the lights. Okay, the lights are a theme, but I like to do themes. Sometimes it's kind of hard to do a theme, but that's what we're going for. So again, I just put the decoupage glue on the back, and I lay it on top of my piece of paper. And that way I can see exactly where I'm placing it. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the decoupage glue on the back, and I'm going to let that dry completely. So now I'm going over a wood ornament that I bought off of Amazon, and it is quite a bit bigger than the actual snow globe itself, so you need something bigger. And I was using Queen's Court by Paint Couture, was that color. And now I'm going over another ornament, and I bought this off of Amazon as well. I will try and link those in the description. And that is with French rose, and I do both sides because you don't want your piece to warp. And now I'm taking my finger sander, and I'm going over and getting the extra paper off with that, and I'm going in a downward motion, and it will take it off and give it a clean edge. Now this one in particular has all the little different fancy kind of scroll work on it, and I have this little tiny sanding thing that I got off of Amazon, and it works really well to get all those little pieces out. So those 2 pieces are ready to go. And so now I'm going over this French rose with a Luxe Metallic. This is by Paint Couture, and this is Ballet Slipper. I let that dry. And now I'm taking some stencil paste from Pentart, and this is their gold stencil paste. And this is a Tim Holtz stencil that I have in my stash. You may still be able to get this one, I'm not sure. And I'm just going to take some stencil paste, and I like to just like glob it on there. And then I have this little, I don't know what it is, it's just a stencil paste spreader. And I'm going over my stencil with it. And I'm going to go over half of this. It doesn't cover the whole thing, so I'm going to do half of it. Then I'm going to let it dry. Or I'm actually going to use my heat gun and dry it before I try and do the other half, because I don't want to smush what I already did or mess it up. And you just lift your stencil straight up, and turns out beautiful. And I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other side of this ornament as well. And I do the back of this, but I just don't show you. So I have dried that before I go ahead and put down my stencil again, because you don't want to mess up what you've already done. And I try and match it up as best I can. And I go ahead and do that and put my stencil paste down. And again, I'm using my little tool that I have. I like to put it on, and then I use my little, I like that little rubber thing because it really works well to get the stencil paste in there. And I'm just going to go all the way across it. When that is completely dry, I drill a hole in the middle of my ornament. And now I'm taking my snow globe and I am going over it with a metallic paint by Fusion, and this is their gold. And then I'm going to let that dry. Now I am fishing through my lights, the same fairy lights, and we will glue the piece that you turn on and off to the back. And now what I'm doing is I'm kind of going in a circular motion, and I'm pushing down the lights because I want all of these to show up in the globe. And I really honestly did not do a great job of placing the lights where I needed them. But, it's my first attempt anyway. But you get the idea. The idea is to give you an idea of what you can do. So you smush them all down and you kind of decide where you do not have to have the entire string of lights on there. I did the whole string. You can cut these lights and the end piece obviously won't light up, but the rest of it will stay lit, so you don't have to put as many. And now I'm putting a lot of glue down, and I'm holding it down with my little spatula because you definitely don't want to hold it down with your finger. So you're smushing down all the lights and putting a lot of glue. And what I do is I'm kind of moving it up a little bit, living dangerously here and trying not to burn my hands. And I could have done a better job, see up on top there on the left, of moving some of those lights up there before I glued it down. But basically all you do after that is you just glue your snow globe on, and look at that. And it works. It works, and it stays working, and you can turn it on and off. Now here's the thing, guys. I lost my footage of doing my other ornament, but I did everything kind of the same, and I'll tell you what I did. So now what I'm doing is I'm just taking some Pentart glitter, and I'm going over the ornament itself on the outside just to add a little bit of sparkle. And I do take some Pentart glue and go all the way around the edges with the German glass glitter in the gold. And I put a bow on it, and I lost that footage, but anyway, you get the idea. You just put glue on the edges, and then you put your German glass glitter on it, and I think it turned out really, really cool. So that's how it looked not lit up. It looks good not lit up. And then you can light it up. See, I should have moved those lights around a little bit more, but this is my first attempt, and I think it's kind of a cool idea. And let me know what you think about it. All right, now ornament number 2, you did not get to see me. I did stencil paste on top of that. the silver stencil paste by Pentart. And I also went over that with Sky Blue Luxe Metallic to give the paint a little metallic-y look. And I used a German glass glitter in the silver around it. And I also used the silver glitter pen on the ornament on the actual snow globe a little. So anyway, that one turned out really cool. Oh, and also, guys, on both of them, I went over the snow globe with a little bit of the pouring glaze by Pentart because it's super, super shiny. I just painted it on. I didn't pour it on, and that made it really, really glossy and shiny. Anyway, I hope you like it. Well, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. And if you happen to need any IOD, Fusion, Paint Couture, Pentart, Sweet Pickins Milk Paint, JRV, Roycycle papers, or decoupage paper, you can get that on my website, rehatchdesigns.com. The link will be in the description. $50 a free shipping, and then $9 flat rate shipping. Good prices, fast, quick service. Anyways, guys, I am going to try and get out another video this Saturday, and I have no idea what it's going to be. It'll be a surprise to you and me. So you take care, and I hope to see you soon. And if you got any value out of this video, I would really, really appreciate it if you could give me a thumbs up. And go ahead and share it out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe, and I will be seeing you again on Saturday. And my videos I'm trying to get them out on Saturdays and Wednesdays, so be looking forward to that. And in November, I have a kind of a big surprise for everybody. So anyway, we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.